How's it going?
To end.
How's it going?
To end.
How's it going?
To end. How's it going? To end.
How is it going to end?
How's it going to end?
How's it going to end?
How's it going to end? How is it? How's it going to end?
I was wondering that myself.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to How's It Going to End? How you doing? That's great. Happy Friday. Another solo episode. Still trying to find some specific people to get on, you know. I'm going to be having Frederick Joseph and Sophie from That Final Scene, and hopefully a couple other friends on in the next coming weeks, because there's some great movies coming out and there's some great things to talk about. And I know, from like the little feedback I've seen on YouTube and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which if you could support there, that'd be great. You guys like the episodes with them in particular, and Frank Alvarez, you know, from the Basement Yard and all those guys. So yeah, I'll definitely be trying to have them on some more. Fred, you know, we have so much to talk about when it comes to movies and society. So stick around if you're interested in hearing those conversations, and if you're just interested in hearing me talk, which I don't know why you would be, stick around for that too, because there's definitely going to be those episodes like right now. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff happened in just a week, so you know, let's check it out. Let's drop into some like news that makes you depressed. If you ever really want to feel truly depressed, here I got a perfect example. If you want to feel truly depressed, I have a perfect reason to be depressed. We missed out on a Zorro Django team-up film from Tarantino, co-written by Gerard Carmichael. Just think about that. Just think about that sadness, that pure sadness in your soul for a second. Apparently Tarantino had been trying to make this since like 2014. He'd spoken to Antonio Banderas, and he had tapped recently Gerard Carmichael to figure some things out with the script, and it's like, Banderas had said he doesn't think he'd be able to do it now given his age, and it's like, that would have been so fucking cool. Are you telling Django and Zorro going around the country and just dealing out justice? That would have been fucking great. With Gerard Carmichael as a co-writer. That's really fucking interesting. It really gets you down. I'm glad I started with that one. Yeah, no, that just would have been a really good one. Just because then you get to like combine, you know, Tarantino loves to do these westerns and like showdown type movies. Would have been cool. I don't know if it's entirely out of the... Well, Tarantino had also recently had like a bunch of possible ideas come out that are not... that's nothing happening with them. Like the Star Trek movie he wanted to make. So it's like... maybe he's just got all this shit coming out and, you know, trying to decide what'll be number 10. Which I think is interesting, that he wants to do only 10 films. I get that. 10 solid films, then you dip and you do other shit. Yeah, I get that. You know, what else? This is something I thought was pretty funny. So Chris Pratt is Mario, right? We all know this, that Chris Pratt is going to be voicing Mario, because why not? You know, Chris Pratt, people like Chris Pratt, and they want to make a popular Mario movie, so you put a popular actor in there. That's why every movie now sounds the same, looks the same, fucking tastes the same, because they all star the same 3 fucking people. Chris Pratt had said his Mario will be unlike anything. His Mario voice will be unlike anything you've heard in a Mario world before. Which is like, yeah, man, we know. We've never heard Chris Pratt in the Mario world. The fuck are you talking about? I think that they realized that it was like such a fucking boneheaded decision to cast him. And they're like, all right, well, we gotta just hype people up beforehand, you know? What are you hyping us up for? My Mario voice is unlike anything you've heard in a Mario world, in the Mario world before. All right, cool. I mean, yeah, we know nothing in what's it called? Fucking Goopa Land? What nothing in the Mario world has ever sounded like Chris Pratt. So technically he's right. Fucking asshole. I don't know. I don't give a shit. That's going to be another one where it's like, it's going to be just, at least with, with Sonic, the voice kind of, with Ben Schwartz's voice works with Sonic. You know what I mean? Sonic is supposed to be this weirdly energetic and hyper, and that's like, there's an accuracy to that with the video game, I guess. I don't know. I've never really played like these kinds of games growing up. I played Mario on the Game Boy, but that sure didn't fucking sound like Chris Pratt. It's just an obvious attempt for them to be like, okay, we'll get the kids if we put Chris Pratt in, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. The popular folks, right? Oh my God. I fucking heard recently that there was, in Oklahoma, in a movie theater in Oklahoma, they had a sign in the theater for parents who were taking their children to see Lightyear that said, sorry folks, we tried our best to fast forward through the lesbian kiss, but you're gonna, we fast forward as best as we could. So the one place in Oklahoma they're not seeing they're seeing a fast lesbian kiss is in that movie theater, but they could, the prudishness of this fucking country, I swear to God, as if the majority of the country doesn't watch, like lesbian porn. All these fucking phony fucks who are like, oh, we shouldn't be, There's something so fucked in that mindset of like, we don't want to indoctrinate our kids. And it's like, meanwhile, I've been watching straight folks kiss my entire life. And there was nothing, because that's, oh fuck. It's all so fucked. We're all so fucked. I'm sorry, I don't want to start Friday off like this, but Jesus Christ. It's us versus them, and we're all so fucked. Oh, man. Sorry, folks. There's something funny about fast forwarding it. Why don't you just cut it at least then? You're fast forwarding, and so then what? For like those 4 seconds, people in the theater get real mad. That lesbian kiss wasn't fast enough. Next time, fast forward it faster. That's so fucking funny. Oklahoma, though, you know? You know what? Let's check the... Let's check the best... Let's check the U.S. state porn categories. The top porn searches in the United States. I want to see this shit because I want to see what's going on in Oklahoma. Come on, you fucking... The majority of the country is lesbian. That's so funny. That's so funny. Most popular search terms by state. The Northwest has MILF, which, hey. And so does, I guess Rhode Island is that? I don't know. The majority of the country is lesbian, MILF, and ebony, which is like, hey, man. That's so fucking funny. Top gaining searches is cheerleader? Really? People still into the cheerleader shit? That just seems like very... a while ago. Okay. Most searched porn terms by country. Wow, really? Okay. Texas is lesbian, of course. That makes sense. The majority of the Southeast is black girl, white guy, which, hey, you know, that says a lot. The New York is orgy? Really? Interesting. New Jersey Giantess, which is like, that's interesting. That's so fucking funny. I didn't expect to be talking about this today, but that's fucking hilarious. Florida is hentai. Oh, that's so funny. I don't know. It's so funny. It's like this country loves to pretend like it's some fucking buttoned up conservative. But if you look at history, hey man, we're all a bunch of freaks. Some of us just like to make others feel bad about it. I don't know how this relates to fast forwarding a lesbian kiss in a movie theater, but hey man. Let's move on. There's this hilarious thing from Christian Bale this week. He talked about how when he was cast in Thor: Love and Thunder, people come up to him and go, "You've entered the MCU," and he goes, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I love that. There's something so great about an actor who just is like, "I'm in a movie. I haven't entered anything. I'm just in a movie. I'm going to act in a movie." There's something about being unaware of the concept of a cinematic universe and not understanding that it's like, dude, this is going to be... The idea of entering, the MCU is so funny, especially for an actor of Bale's caliber. Just to be like, oh, I didn't realize I was signing up for this. You know what I mean? And he's probably not going to last more than one movie. So it's like, yeah, you're probably not going to be a recurring thing, but that's funny. He said like, I haven't entered shit. What are you talking about? That's so great. Because he just wants to show up for the movie and do the movie. You know what I mean? There's something, and I saw something of people talking about like, oh, that means he doesn't know about the character. It's like, who the fuck knows about Gore the God Butcher, except for when now it's Googleable and people really, unless you're a Marvel fan since the 70s, nobody knows about all these other characters. Every character that's been introduced, including since Iron Man, when an Iron Man movie was announced, they were going, really? Iron Man is going to have a movie? Look it up. It's a fucking fact. No one expected it to do well. And that's the majority, honestly, of Marvel characters. Because DC always makes the same movies about Superman, Batman, whatever. Marvel characters, they were like, unless it's Spider-Man or the Hulk or maybe even Wolverine, no one cares. I don't care. The point I'm making is that I don't care that Christian Bale. The point I'm making is that I don't care that Christian Bale doesn't understand the concept of entering a cinematic universe. I love it even more because it means he's putting his all into this performance and he's not thinking about the next performance, you know what I mean? Which we all know is the number one point now of a cinematic universe, especially the MCU, is to sell the next thing before this thing even gets out. You know what I mean? They're already talking about a Thor 5, whether or not Hemsworth is going to be in the next one. It's like, guys, the next one, the Thor: Love and Thunder comes out in a week. Give it time. Relax. You got to fucking suck down another $1 billion? Come on. That's my favorite thing now recently about all the recent Disney stuff is that there is this sort of like general awakening around people being like, hey, wait a second, that wasn't that great. But it's like one of 10 projects in the year. You know what I mean? Like the idea that people are just now understanding the quantity over quality corporate mentality of Disney. It warms my heart. Honestly, because it's like, fuck, to think about, the quality in a project is diluted when they have to maximize, how many they put out there. And I know that Thor used some bits of that new LED screen that Greg Fraser came up with for The Mandalorian, but it's like, it does not look good. And I know it's just trailers, and I know the movie comes out in a week, but you think that, no, you wouldn't think that, because at this point they can make $1 billion putting out fucking anything. Whatever. I mean, if we want to talk about how comic book movies look, and especially Marvel movies look, and their quality, no better example than Multiverse of Madness and Eternals. Multiverse of Madness and Eternals are the two most distinct looking Marvel movies of the last 15 years. They don't look like anything else in the MCU. All of Eternals, majority of it was shot on location. And Multiverse of Madness just fucking oozes Sam Raimi. And it's not a coincidence that those are the two that get picked apart. Like all these Marvel fans are suddenly fucking Roger Ebert being like, oh, the writing was this, the structure was that. It's like, it's not a coincidence. These are flaws that have permeated the fucking. These are flaws that have plagued the entire franchise. And by plagued, I just mean they're not new. You know what I mean? When people are like, oh, but the character motivations in Multiverse of Madness, it's like, bro, it makes no sense that Tony Stark would flip like that in Civil War. I know that's how it happened in the comics. Makes no sense in the movie. Makes no sense that Spider-Man would follow this billionaire blindly in Civil War either. And just fight for the other guys. Once he found out that what Tony was doing, we all know, if people want to talk about comic accuracy, we all know Spidey fucking switches sides in the comics. You know? And I'm not trying to say Multiverse of Madness and Eternals are better than any of these other films. I'm saying that, like, honestly, honestly, like, the majority of Star Wars, like, they're all kind of in the same boat. Most Marvel movies are received the same way in that, like, they're great, and that's kind of like the best it gets. You know what I mean? Like, it's like talking about the dudes that wanted Star Wars to be perfect. It's like Star Wars has always been fine, and that's it. It's always either been fine or, like, you know, like, people have hated it. And there's something about, it's just interesting that the two most visually different looking films, the two that don't look as bland as the rest of the movies, because the rest of them, boy, it's like you're looking at a fucking concrete garage sometimes. It's not a coincidence that those two who look stunning in their own unique ways suddenly have people going, but the writing, but this, but that. And then they don't do that to movies that it's like, hey, that's the same fucking issues there. I don't know. That's going to happen. And it's a shame that it, like, infects the box office for those two. I think Multiverse of Madness did, you know, fine for a Marvel movie, but Eternals did terribly. I have an idea, something to talk about. We can talk about the fact that I want to talk about how these first 6 months of 2020 have been phenomenal. You know what I mean? These first 6 months, in terms of film, not in terms of life. In terms of life, they've fucking. But all right, here are some of the movies that came out this year that I'm just in love with, that I think that need to be talked about. And some you've heard of, some you probably haven't. So, you know, let's just pay attention for a second. We got Scream. That was great. That's just the start of this year's great horror. You know what I mean? This year has been fantastic when it comes to horror. I'm going to run through them real quick. Scream, Sundown, Cyrano, The Worst Person in the World, Batman, After Yang, Triple R, Fresh, The Outfit, X, You Won't Be Alone, Everything Everywhere All at Once, all-time favorite. The Northman, Massive Talent, Petite Maman, Pleasure, Men, that's pretty funny. Top Gun, Maverick, and Crimes of the Future. That just think about that list for a second, and the sheer quality of those films. If you haven't heard of any of those films, or if you haven't seen some of those films, I could not recommend them enough. I mean, just this year has been phenomenal when it comes to these, and it's not letting up yet. You know what I mean? We still have The Black Phone, Nope, Don't Worry, Darling. It's gonna be. This is going to be one of those pivotal years where it seems like creativity and vulnerability shines. You know what I mean? I don't know. And it's important to talk about, like, the distributors, because I think that's an important thing. I don't think people think about the fact that, or at least, you know, there's like the folks that kind of rally behind maybe A24 or something, and they don't understand A24 is a distributor. You know what I mean? It's not like it's making the movies. There are production studios, and then there are distributors, and there's a difference. And I don't think that A24 should get all the credit. I mean, we've gotten some amazing, creative, and awesome, interesting films from A24, but we have to think about other distributors that have been putting out the most creative films of the last 10 years, 5-10 years so far. So, next to A24, I mean, you know, just think about it, like the absolute gems we've gotten from A24. We got Green Knight, Good Time, Last Black Man in Francisco, and Last Black Man, excuse me, in San Francisco, Hereditary, Midsummer, all these like classics that everyone loves to watch, that's become its own aesthetic at this point, specifically with A24. But there's also Neon. Neon has been putting out award-winning films or award-nominated films for a while. I mean, we've got Parasite, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Spencer, Pig. These are movies that fucking soar. You know what I mean? It's weird to kind of verbalize this, but it's like these other movies do exist, and these two other distributors. Another one I want to talk about is Focus Features. They've put out some incredibly distinct and creative films. For example, The Northman, Promising Young Woman, The Dead Don't Die, Phantom Thread. These are all movies that, if you look back, you go, "Oh shit, that was them." You know what I mean? Like, I think it's interesting. I think these three companies are cracking out these phenomenal movies, and I think it's like keeping that idea of immense creativity alive between the three of these. You know what I mean? And I know that there are others that are putting out creative ones as well, but it's interesting to see these three kind of put that burden on their back to be like, all right, everything else is a big budget fucking IP connected to some franchise from either now or 30 years ago. We're gonna put out solo stories that can stand by themselves, that put quality before quantity. Do you know what I mean? I think that's just so non-existent now. I don't know. It seems like these are the things that you got to fucking take care of and see in theaters, because then that's how you get more distinct looking shit. That's how you get more interesting shit. And in a movie industry where everything is starting to literally look the same actors, the same color palettes, the same, it's just, fuck, man. It seems like we're coming to the end of the age of the legacy sequels. Do you know what I mean? Like, Star Wars kind of did, I don't want to say kicked it off, but like in 2015 they did Force Awakens. They brought back Han and Leia and all that, and that kind of was like, okay, well now every studio that can is going to dive back 40, 30 years and bring back those folks, and they kind of did, and that's kind of ending now. That's basically ending with Jurassic World Dominion. I mean, it started Star Wars, Spider-Man, Top Gun, The Matrix, Blade Runner, Ghostbusters, Spider-Man. Like, I think that age of movies is over, because there's nothing else that fucking exists that they can do it with. So it's going to move into something else, and it's interesting to teeter on the edge of what comes next. You know what I mean? To wonder what's going to be the next thing that dominates the box office for the next 5 years. For a time, it was like live action Disney versions of old animated movies. I haven't seen Lightyear yet, but I hear it has 3 end credit scenes. Fucking why? But I don't doubt this is going to lead to like more toy stories. I don't know. The point I'm making is that, like, in a industry of those movies existing, which nothing wrong with those movies, yada fucking yada. I don't have to defend billion-dollar making movies. A24, Neon, and Focus Features have been putting out new, fresh, creative films. And so when I hear someone go, nothing's original these days, you're fucking wrong. You're not supporting the original work. You don't pay attention to the original work. You're focusing on the next time you're going to get to see Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, which, I'll be honest, I enjoyed. I'm not some fucking hypocrite that's going to go, oh, I'd rather watch this than that. But there's a world where you can support both. I don't know. How long have I been doing this shit? Too fucking long. All right. If you guys want to follow the podcast, you can go to my YouTube channel, Comedian to Cinema, and subscribe there to watch it. Or if you want to listen, you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. How's it going to end? And while you're doing that, if you could rate and review this shit, that would be most appreciated. All right. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully with another person.